Sure, you know following up after a first prospect meeting is critical, but the 3 stats in this episode are going to wake you up to just how critical. Stick around. Hey kids, welcome to 3 Takeaways, your agency new business video series where we focus on one new business category and we give you 3 takeaways to help improve your new business program. 2 of the biggest business development challenges for advertising agencies and PR firms. The first is breaking through effectively to your prospects. Absolutely one of the hardest things to do, and full respect for how tough it really is. The second is what we're going to talk about over 2 episodes, and it's the process of following up after the first meeting. That's an important distinction here, and I want to make sure it's clear. There's your follow-up after your first reach out, your first phone call, your first email, and you didn't get through, right? And then the number of touches it takes to get your first meeting once you break through and get the meeting, which on average takes about 6 touches. But we are going to talk about follow-up after your first meeting with your prospect. You already got a meeting on the books, in the can. We've got stats for you, and if you're an agency leader, soak these in. More importantly, share these with your new business individual person or your team. These are really important. Okay, so here's your first takeaway. 53% of marketers say that agencies are not sufficiently aggressive in following up after a first meeting. That's a stat from one of our survey reports. Now I get it. You don't want to jump all over them after a first meeting, but man, it's a really good first meeting. You're excited. You should be. You want to get going.
Let's do this.
Well, 2 things you should have done in that first meeting, and 2 bonus takeaways here. Your first bonus takeaway is you should diplomatically ask about their timeline. Second bonus takeaway is ask for the second meeting. That's what you should do at the end of that first meeting roundabout there, right? So here's an example. It's a version of what I might typically say. So this has been great. Really appreciate everyone's time. In terms of follow-up, I just want to make sure I'm respectful of your timeline. Whatever makes sense in terms of follow-up, just want to make sure we're clear on it. And then depending on their answer, you try and get that second meeting set. Now it's some version of that, right? And I know that can be easier said than done. Every situation will be different. You just may not be able to get that next meeting set no matter how good you are, which is why follow-up is, of course, so important.
You just got to do it.
So here's your next takeaway, and more stats. 80% of all sales involve at least 5 follow-ups after the first meeting. But your third takeaway brings the harsh reality into light. 44% of sales professionals give up after just 1 attempt. This drives me to distraction.
Take it, I can't take it!
Okay, you worked so hard to get the first meeting. You had the first meeting, it went well. You essentially at that point have permission to follow up. And what typically happens, you follow up once, your prospect doesn't respond as quickly as you would like, and you shouldn't take that personally, all right? Lack of response does not mean lack of interest. I'm gonna give you some homework. Watch episode 58. It's on this topic and it will help you if you're stuck. Now, sometimes that prospect is legitimately ghosting you. It happens, right? But too many times they are just busy. Doesn't mean it's not rude, but there it is. So I hope these stats lay out as boldly as possible why you've got to stick with it, okay? And in our next episode, I will lay out several ways to follow up that will help you feel more comfortable and confident as you do it. All right, thanks for watching 3 Takeaways. Lots of new business content on our site, rswus.com. It's there somewhere. Just hit the resources drop down. Thanks.